Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at TechTrader.com. It's Tuesday, June the 14th. These are the charts of the day. I'm going to show you some longs and shorts, about 13 of each. It's a tricky market out there. The ultra shorts have been kind to us, but market has not been. And but I'm amazed how many of our swing trades are actually doing pretty well. But all that changes if we get a real plunge in the market. We did get to a minus 1100 tick more than that actually. And the oscillators are getting a little oversold. Quick look at the McClellan, and you can see it's now down to minus 111, although their low was 151 today. That's a level at which we've seen some rallies in the past. So if we don't get a rally as early as tomorrow morning, it may go another day or two, get down to maybe 2.25, and then maybe snap back. But we're pretty close, I think, to some tradable turn, at least short term. Getting back to where we were, AOSL, specialized semiconductor stock, which doesn't trade a lot, traded 217,000 today. But you can see this pattern, and it's been on my top 20 list for a while. Beautiful. Pop, pull back, and pop again. If we get through 14.5, this is going to be a $16.5 stock with a secondary target at 18. 2.7 days to cover. Beautiful trend, unfazed by the market. And the short-term support is right in this zone. You can see for about 3 weeks now. It's held 1339, so you could put a stop under that if you are concerned. Up next is BPSM. Now, obviously, not my normal kind of stock, but with record volume of 12 million shares a couple of days ago and another 4.4 today, you can see stock has never traded anywhere near that. So it exploded, pulled back for 3 days, consolidated in a wedge. It got an inside day yesterday on low volume, and then boom, today, right back to resistance, but it did back off. Now watch the 620.22 zone right here. We get through that, looking at a $9 stock potentially. With 2.5 days to cover, not a huge amount, but I think there's a possibility because of this pullback, if we don't get a follow through, we may back and fill for the next couple of weeks. But bottom line is, if it does run, it can spike. So keep an eye on this for a day trade. CETX, nice comeback after the pullback yesterday, held right about that 320 range with secondary support certainly around 305. That level held, the stock popped, but the volume was low. What I want to see is this stock get up through 3.75, then I think you're on your way to 5. EXAS, what a beautiful day for that today. It exploded on 22.3 million, and it wasn't really a reason. Although talk about CAR-T and other things, Kramer, etc. This stock could make a move. Watch the the resistance at about 1040.45 from back in November when it got crushed and rebounded. That 1045 area, which we may see tomorrow morning, would be a key resistance. Should we get through that, I'd be looking for 12.5. 13 days to cover. This could be interesting. Keep an eye on this one tomorrow. And the days going forward. Well, talking about the ultra shorts, the FAZ, the UVXY, all rebounded, but the UVXY VIX in particular, which has resistance up here, moved down today after actually had a reversal day after 5 days in a row up, and that's not unusual. The volume was huge, 120 million, never seen before in the UVXY, ever. So a big volume in a reversal day is never a good thing. The stock may need to back and fill for a few days. If the market does rally back for a couple, 3-4 days, we may see a consolidation. But in reference to the FAZ, financials are weakening, and this one had a very good day, up $1.38 or 3.5%. The volume picked up to 3.9 million. You can see that's the biggest volume on an up day we've had in years. And so this may be the trigger that makes this run towards the first resistance 42 and then second resistance 45. Those could be potential targets. So it appears that that ultra short in particular versus some others appears to have the momentum and volume. Swing trade FIVN just acting great, and this market today was up 35 cents or almost 3%. OBV is moving steadily higher to multi-year highs. It looks like a stock that wants to go to 16.5, 17 eventually. A little bit long in the tooth as it's gone from 8.5 to 13 in the last 3 weeks, but momentum's a funny thing. This makes stead, just like it did in here. MCF, recent swing, added it last Friday, I believe, or yesterday, and it jumped another 58 cents or 4.5% today. Volume was light. I need more volume, but it made a nominal move to break out today and close at the high for the day going away. So for me, potentially a breakaway day. With this kind of pattern setup. I think the stock and the consolidation of a 3-month period here. We could see this get up to the high teens if it takes off here, and especially if oil firms and continues to firm. MEET. Well, this stock's been strong since the last October when it had a breakaway gap on volume and ran up to 4 3/4 before backing off in a wedge. It then broke out recently when it popped through 370. Today's high 479. Resistance at 5.5. Long-term target could be as high as 7. Something to keep an eye on. Top 25 MRCY, and you can see why it's a top 25 stock. It's been on in that beautiful channel for what? 2.5 years? Fantastic. But more importantly, the key to this is that the 2011 high is being taken out here. Now, the all-time high goes way back 11 years. That says 32 is our next target. How about that? My top of my channel, though, says about 24.5. Let's see what happens if and when it gets there. It may be short-term overbought. But if it sets up a nice consolidation, it could extend into the mid to high 20s. Match.com with a big day today. Match Group, excuse me, which I believe is Match.com. You can see that from 14 to 16 today was a big day. Closed 1586, up 164, 11.5%. With 6.6 days to cover and a breakout of a wedge and then a follow-through, it is now post-IPO highs. The second day it traded at 1617. Today's high 1609. We get through 1617. I believe it could be a $19 stock. SWCX. Well, its recent IPO, after pulling down, bouncing, and bouncing again, it backed off one more time. On a 15-minute chart, you can really see the clear pattern. Clean breakout today with big volume. Looking for potentially something that takes this up into the 16-18 range. VG, well, Vonage had a huge move on 8.8 million today, and you can see the declining top line was taken out, lateral price resistance was taken out. The March high was tested near 555, reaching 564, but it backed off to 534. Still, I'm looking for more upside, maybe a follow through to 6, and maybe 6 3/4. Weibo, one of our swing trades, doing great. And look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move, and yet the pullback, which was moderate and orderly, today resulted in a snapback of $1.37 or 5%. Now, volume wasn't huge, but it looks like it wants to go. And what I'd watch on Weibo is going to get to 29.5. If it does, the target's at 32 and 35 plus. Now, look at some of the boxes shorts that we were interested in. Alexion, one of my top picks. Really, this broke, exploded, broke, exploded, so it's a very volatile stock. Currently, it's in break mode. I can see the pattern. It looks to me like it's going to retest 123, maybe get down to 100, 105 area, 110, something like that. Very weak pattern, weak technicals. Looks lower. ATHN, is this finally going to break? Well, it looks like it's been down for 4 days in a row, but not a lot. I need that big break day for it to follow through to the downside. My target's at 120.21, 114.15, and then around 99 to 100. 20 days to cover. Wow, somebody's right. CALM, that's Cal-Maine Foods. Massive head and shoulders, finally broke the wedge, broke the neckline, and continues to drop. Looking for a move to 34.5. 23.5 days to cover. Wow. CMG, well, finally a little bounce after, what, 5 days in a row? You should expect that, folks. When you see a stock that comes down near the bottom of a channel after 6 days in a row, I'm not surprised it bounced, but I still think it's a short opportunity. We'll see. How far up it goes, I can't be clear. I want to wait to see the overall look. Here's what it looks like on a 15-minute basis. It still looks like a bear flag, doesn't it? If the market goes lower here, I suspect we see this at 385, 373, and lower. Foot Locker, bear flag extraordinaire. After the breakdown from here, I'm looking for this to drop dead shortly, 51.5, 48.5, or lower. GME, GameStop, a big down leg followed by 3-wave corrective. This is wave 1 and 2. The third wave has 3 waves in it. I'm looking for maybe a 4th and maybe a 5th. But more importantly, eventually, it looks like a stock that's maybe headed for the mid-teens. This could get ugly. HAR has been a short of mine for the last year, and you can see it continues to drop. Recently, the rising wedge broke down. I need this to get below 71 to start to see mid-60s and then mid-50s, which I think it ultimately gets to. Swing short KMX, rolling over, it looks like. A test may be ahead of us at 47. We've cracked that, 44. And then the ultimate February lows retested 41. And beneath that, we got problems, or this stock does anyway. Let's see if he gets down there and then runs into the 36, 38 range. LB. Well, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or let's call that a bear wedge breakdown, snapback to resistance. I'm not thinking this is going anywhere. It's certainly 6, 7 days in a row, slightly lower. Now, I'm thinking now that with the angle looking like this, and maybe this has changed to look a little bit more like that, that this has legs to get into mid-50s. PSA looks like it's broken its trend line. It has a head and shoulders type top, broke down from that support level, and should certainly give a run at the 245 area, 225 area. Below that, it's got a big problem all the way down to 200. Royal Caribbean boxer swing short, still working, slowly but surely breaking. Today took out a double bottom. I'm looking for mid-60s and then mid-50s. SIG, well, I'm not sure it's should be held that much longer because it's dropped from 110 down to 83 very quickly, 81.69 being a low today, right on the bottom of that trend line. But if it does fall apart and take out 80, 81, we can see this drop into the low 70s. That would not surprise me. And lastly is sovereign self-storage, similar to the public storage, which also is topping out, rolling over. This bear wedge broke, and it's starting to drop precipitously and steadily. Under 98, 99, this could drop into the high 80s. And folks, there's the long and short of it for this evening. Have a good evening.